Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Yes, I am the grand poobah of the Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, August 4th, 2020. This is episode 521 of The Daily Dope. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out, it's very, very casual, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. So chat a little bit about what's new in board games, card games, miniatures, role-playing games. If it's on your table, we're probably talking about it. Every once in a while, we'll talk a little PC games, a little pop culture, but for the most part, it's all tabletop gaming around here. So do want to remind you, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to ring that notification bell, because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, we'll also tell you when I upload my other videos, such as reviews and interviews and convention coverage, unboxings, page throughs, you name it. So I actually just uploaded today, which, stupid me, I had it right next to me and then I moved it. So now I have to go back there and grab it. So I uploaded my review of the alpha today. Well, I shouldn't say uploaded it. I made it public because I had completed this review a few days ago. So headed up there. So this is the latest review. This is from Bicycle Games, which of course is a division of Bicycle Cards. And not to steal any thunder from the review, I was very pleasantly surprised. I really was. I found it to be a really, really good game. So also I found it kind of surprising. I guess Bicycle Cards doesn't retweet anything. So that's usually how a lot of people end up seeing reviews, is the company retweets the review link. And I see that's not something Bicycle Cards does. So pretty wild. Pretty weird. All right. Anyway, also want to mention, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, because this is a live stream, that means chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I kind of keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to just say howdy, or maybe have a question, a comment, by all means, please chime in. I will do my best to respond. So far tonight, we've got Kabuki Kid, Double K, is in chat with us, along with John Vogel. Good to see you both. So what's cooking, everybody? Had my contest yesterday. Do you want to mention we had that live contest for the Any Award winners? And if you did not watch live, you still have an opportunity to win. I am going to do 3 giveaways of PDFs available on Drive-Thru RPG. They have to be Any Award winners from this year. And all you got to do to get in the running is comment on yesterday's show. That's it. Just put a comment there in the comment section on YouTube for yesterday's episode, and you're in the running. Very cool. Kabuki Kid says, hey, they were gaming last night, so they missed the show. Yeah, gaming. What is that? Nobody gets to the game anymore during this pandemic. I know. Yeah, we're finally starting to get together with more than 2 or 3 of us playing a game. It is still very, very difficult to do. So, luckily, one day for about 5 hours, I had the opportunity to play games of 6 people. So that is how we did, how we knocked out the alpha, knocked out the SpongeBob SquarePants Flux. So, and Kabuki Kid mentions, hey, I heard good things about the alpha. It is good. I enjoyed it. The gang really liked it. So check out the review. Probably not going to get a lot of views on that simply because it has been out for a little bit. And like I said, Bicycle doesn't seem to retweet anything. So I'm like, okay, well, if that's your policy, that's fine. I'm not going to complain about that. So I do see the Madman is in chat. Bill Allen is joining us. I believe this might be the first time Bill's chimed in to say hello. Good to see you, Bill. Thanks for hanging out with us this evening. And Bill says they're about to game in about an hour. Well, I guess I better get going. Guess I better move it along, right? It's like, come on, Jeff, let's do this. Let's go. All right, so let's jump on into the news. I've got 5 news pieces tonight for us, and I'm telling you, it just seems like Wizards of the Coast has a lot of stuff cooking right now because they announced a Dungeons and Dragons themed anniversary edition of the award-winning card game, The Great Dalmuti. And here's the dope. You can fall from the top of the heap to ruthless beholder spawn in an instant. And that's part of the fun in the Great Dalmuti Dungeons and Dragons. To commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Great Dalmuti, Wizards of the Coast is releasing a new Dungeons and Dragons inspired version of the classic card game. Baronesses with their highfalutin hats were turned to stone by snarky Medusas. Goofy jesters were chased into the castle moat by giggling gnolls. And the super snotty archbishops have all undergone the long process of metamorphosis. I have no idea what metamorphosis is. Anyway, they've become evil mind flayers. Building on the success of the award-winning card game designed by Richard Garfield, The Great Dalmuti, Dungeons & Dragons, will test players' fates and status in a fun, easy-to-learn, and fast-paced card game. The deck includes 13 cards, including the iconic Great Dalmuti, and new D&D-flavored card names accompanied by beautiful and evocative illustrations by artist Harry Conway. In the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, geez, what's that? I've never heard of that. The dice may control your fate, but in the Great Dalmuti, it's about how cleverly you play the cards you're dealt. One round, you're polishing your royal crown, and the next, you're whacking rats in a filthy alley. Perfect for ages 8 and up. I don't know. You want to send 8-year-olds out into alleys to whack rats? Okay. Anyway, so it is perfect for ages 8 and up and up and up to 8 players. It's a gloat-filled winner-take-all contest. This new D&D edition of the Great Dalmuti is for 4 to 8 players, for ages 8 and up, as previously mentioned, plays in probably about 45 to 60 minutes. It is going to carry an MSRP of $17.99 when it arrives on November 17th. I've never played the Great Dalmuti. I never have. Amazingly enough, I have pretty much, well, okay, I take that back. I haven't played just about every Richard Garfield design. I was going to say, oh, I've played every Richard Garfield design. And I'm like, well, no, I haven't played Keyforge. And I have not played the Great Dalmuti. I sort of get a vibe like Love Letter off of this. Like I said, I have never played it. I know it did win some awards out there. And it is, it's well remembered. I know that for a fact, because I have heard it mentioned before when people talk about some of their favorite card games. I just never have had an opportunity to play it. Here's one thing I do find kind of odd. We'll let the images kind of rotate through one more time because the last image, take a peek at this because I thought this is a little weird. It's the next one coming up. The artwork is kind of cool. I do have to admit, a little different vibe to it. So look at the big box. And it's just, I mean, it's just a deck of cards and it's 13 cards and a little rules booklet. That box looks a little big for that. I'm sure there's probably some sort of an insert. But that throws me off sometimes when you see, little card games and the box is like this big. It's sort of like, what's up with that? So Kabuki Kid mentions that they were Zoom gaming. Not really the best, but take what you can get. I agree. I completely agree. That's why I really didn't take part in Gen Con Online, which I will mention in when we're finished up with the news. Something that I ran across today. I don't know if I'm buying the numbers. Anyway, so John Vogel says, I did not see you at the game of Tank Duel. No, I was not there. So let's see. Did Wheaton do anything to promote the game? I know Bicycle recently hired him on. They did. And you know what? To be honest, they sent me. Let's pop back here for a second. Bicycle sent me an email a few times asking me to share the news how they had hired Will Wheaton as their brand ambassador. And I mean, these were emails that were made out to me. They weren't just like, oh, hey, dear press guy or gamer guy, whatever, which sometimes is what you get when they shoot out press releases. So it was like, hey, Jeff. And then I got another one following up and I was like, hey, Jeff, just curious if you're going to share this news. And I wrote him back and I said, well, I got to be honest. Excuse my French here, but nobody gives a shit about brand ambassadors in tabletop gaming. They just don't. And they really never have. And I notice companies will make the mistake of hiring somebody on to be a brand ambassador, and it does nothing, absolutely nothing for the company. Last one I remember, and she was super nice. Don't get me wrong, but she was for Yellow Games, and I even interviewed her, and I really didn't know who she was. She, like I said, I was going to say like what lister she was, but I mean she was super nice. In fact, it was funny after I interviewed her, my brother Greg, my best friend Elliot, and I ended up having dinner at a bar that her and her boyfriend were at. And we ended up sitting there eating dinner and having drinks with them for a few hours, talking and having fun. But still, the brand ambassador stuff just doesn't work. So, and that's what I told folks at Bicycle. Not that it doesn't work, but it was just not something that my audience really cares about. And it's got nothing against Will Wheaton. Will is, he can be challenging, I guess we'll say. Because I've run into Will twice. Elliot's run into him 3 times. One time he was super nice. Other time he wouldn't pee on you if you were on fire. So it's like he's kind of just, whatever mood he happens to be in. And that's fine. We understand. That's how Will is. So anyway, so let's see. Oh, so we've got, sorry. Yeah, I know. His dead silence is great, right? Isn't that great for a stream? So, got Tank Duel have been able to play it, says Kabuki Kid. The Man says a friend of theirs decided to use Astral for their game. Looking to check that out. Yes, I know we had talked about that a little bit. So Kabuki Kid says, I guess Wheaton has a chance of being a better one, brand ambassador, since he's known for being a gamer. I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't know. Kabuki Kid also mentions a lot of gamers got sort of introduced to games because of tabletop. Not as many as you might think. Not as many as you might think. Once again, I'm not trying to knock Will Wheaton or tabletop or anything like that. All I'm saying is brand ambassadors just really aren't worth it. They really aren't. And I don't think this is the first time that Will Wheaton has been a brand ambassador for a game company. I might be wrong, but I believe he has worked for other game companies in the past. So, and just didn't really register. I don't know. To me, it just seems like Bicycle is just, and like I said, the alpha is good. The alpha, we enjoyed it. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10 as far as a review score. So I really did enjoy it. But they kind of give me the impression of a company that doesn't normally focus on games, that might be going a little too overboard as far as trying to promote their new game line. Funko is kind of the same way. They started off the same way. They went a little too overboard. So I don't know. Just pointing that out. A Great A is here in chat with us as well. So let's move on with more news. And I'm not, like I said, I am not saying anything against Will Wheaton, because for the most part, he's been nice. It's just we caught him probably on a bad day one time. And I think Elliot's caught him twice on bad days. It happens to everybody. All I'm saying is I don't think for gaming, brand ambassadors really bring that much to the table. No pun intended. All right. Up on Kickstarter right now, at least for another, I believe, 4 days, from Worthington Publishing, is a revamped edition of my pal Herman Luttman's In Magnificent Style. Here's the dope. In Magnificent Style is a solitaire game depicting the final desperate Confederate attack on July 3rd, 1863, at the Battle of Gettysburg. You command the Confederate brigades that made Pickett's charge. General Lee's Army of Northern Virginia has been fighting General Meade's Army of the Potomac for 2 brutal days at Gettysburg. Lee's army has garnered some successes, but could not achieve that decisive breakthrough of the Union lines. On the 3rd day, Lee, despite resistance from his trusted old warhorse, General Longstreet, decided on a massive assault against what he deemed to be the weak spot in the Union. English, Jeff. In the Union battle line, this dramatic, infamous assault is popularly known as Pickett's Charge. But that's all it's known as. Is there something else it's known as? The Great Debacle, maybe? I don't know. The game system features some new takes on the traditional push your luck mechanic and applies them to a war game setting. As General Longstreet, you must decide how quickly to press your advancing troops across the deadly open ground before allowing the men to regroup themselves for another bound. But time is not on your side, and the longer your stalwart soldiers remain in this maelstrom of enemy fire, the more dangerous it becomes and the less likely they will arrive with the verve and numbers required to carry the day. Good luck. Like I said, there are only, I believe it's 4 days. Might be 3. I think it's 4, though, left in the project. It is fully funded, completely fully funded. You can reserve a copy of the game for a $59 pledge, and expected delivery is this December. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. So I am kind of curious as far as this new deluxe edition of In Magnificent Style. Up, men, and to your posts. Don't forget today that you're from old Virginia. Anyway, so I'm wondering if this is closer to Crowbar, the Rangers at Point the Hawk that Herman did, or if this is closer to the original In Magnificent Style, which was from Victory Point Games. Kind of curious, because it's a $59 pledge on the game. I would hope it's a little meatier than just kind of a polished up, kind of chromed up Victory Point Games edition. Although I did like the game. I gave it a good review because I enjoyed it. And the Kickstarter has been very, very successful. And Herman's my pal. Reason why I'm so late on sharing this Kickstarter is I didn't even know anything about it. Last I had heard of it, Herman had shot me an email and said, "Hey, Worthington's going to do a Kickstarter for a new edition of In Magnificent Style." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So Herman thought that Worthington sent me a press release about it, and they didn't. In fact, I don't know. For some reason, I think they don't like me. I don't know. Because, I don't know. I find out about their stuff secondhand. And I've asked a few times, "Hey, why don't you put me on your press list? Send, releases and that." I don't know. I have no clue. Anyway, but I did want to share this info, get it out there. Of course, I will have a news piece on the website. Usually what I do is, if you follow the Gaming Gang website, the news usually pops up the next day in the morning. I have the news pieces ready to go and I just publish them in the morning. So anyway, so Kabuki Kid says they went to school with one of Mead's relatives, great granddaughter or something. I would think probably great, wouldn't it? Maybe. I don't know. The old snapping turtle's granddaughter? Yes, out of all the historical wars that the United States has taken part in, I'm probably the most versed in the American Civil War. So, cool beans, cool beans. All right, let's jump into some role-playing game news because a new standalone adventure is now available for Pathfinder. And I've got the dope from Paizo Inc. on the Slithering. And of course, there's going to be a bunch of places, names I'm going to mispronounce. So get ready for that. In fact, I better take a sip so that I'm all set up for that. In the cosmopolitan trading city of Kibwe, at the edge of Wangi Expanse, innocent people struck by a terrible curse known as the Slithering are melting into malevolent oozes. I hate when that happens. The heroes are at the epicenter of this slimy curse and might be the only ones capable of recovering the ancient magic required to break it. Tracking the course of the Slithering through Kibwe's colorful markets and shrines, the heroes must untangle the curse's origin and discover the role the nefarious Aspis Consortium plays in the unfolding conspiracy. Damn you, Aspis Consortium! The mysteries the heroes uncover might usher in a new era of plenty and prosperity for Kibwe, if the heroes can survive the Slithering to experience it. The Slithering is a deluxe adventure for 5th level characters written by Ron Lundeen, featuring terrifying new monsters, repulsive new rules. I don't know if you'll be repulsed or not, but that's what they say. And magic items. And an in-depth look at one of the most exciting cities in the jungle-choked Mwangi Expanse. The Slithering provides a wealth of secrets and dangers. The 68-page print edition, I believe it's 68, is available for $22.99, or you can get it in PDF for $15.99. There's also the accompanying flip mat. Bring your adventures in the Slithering to life on your tabletop with this double-sided full-color flip mat featuring key encounter locations from the Pathfinder 2nd Edition adventure. You guessed it, the Slithering on either side. One side depicts a mostly abandoned building known as the Archive of the Sun, and the other side shows an evil complex called the Plaza of the Feasting Fiend, both prominent locations in the adventure. Flip mat The Slithering measures 24 inches by 30 inches unfolded and 8 by 10 folded. A flip mat's coated surface can handle any dry erase, wet erase, or even permanent marker. Usable by experienced GMs and novices alike, Pathfinder flip mats fit perfectly into any game master's arsenal. On tabletops across the world, the flip mat revolution is changing the way players run their fantasy role-playing games. Why take the time to sketch out ugly scenery on a smudgy plastic mat when dynamic encounters and easy cleanup is just a flip away? The Slithering flip mat carries an MSRP of $14.99, or you can grab the PDF for $10.99. Nice. Cool. You know what? I don't know. Those of you out there who are much more familiar with the first edition of Pathfinder, I'm sure will correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am wrong. But I don't seem to recall as many standalone adventures for first edition Pathfinder in such a short period of time. It was usually adventure path chapters that would pop out. Because right now, I think the Slithering is either the second or third standalone adventure that Paizo has released for Pathfinder. And like I said, don't think there were that many just standalone one-shots outside of free RPG Day releases, of course, from Paizo. So I'm kind of curious, kind of interested. So, what is PF2? So they're talking about, is anyone here playing PF2? A grade A is asking, and Kabuki Kid's like, what is that? So, Pathfinder Second Edition. So Kabuki Kid says never played any Pathfinder. The Man doesn't play. I knew that. It's D&D and Savage Worlds. And Kevin Thorpe has popped in. Good to see you, Kevin. Kevin says that they have played some first edition Pathfinder. So a grade A says more that they're watching and reading about. It seems to me, to him, that they're really going for any combo you can think of on character creation side. The 3-action rule is a good idea, but the 48 different conditions scares me. Yeah, that's a lot of conditions, I will point out too. So in a grade A said, Paizo doesn't like the standalone books from PF1 because they don't have spines for bookstores. Huh, that I did not know. I did not know that. So Flaming Huron has joined us in chat as well. Good to see you. So I will have another item to mention about Paizo and Pathfinder 2nd Edition at the end of the news. Moving right along, there's a new bundle of holding which has arrived. It just popped up yesterday. So I talked about a bundle of holding yesterday for the Dying Earth. Now we've got Space 1889, and this is the GDW edition. Here's the dope. Take note, Ethernauts. This all-new Space 1889 Odysseys bundle is one of 2 offers that are now in progress, featuring the proto-steampunk tabletop role-playing game of Victorian-era planetary adventure. Say that 5 times fast. Space 1889. I swear at some point I'm going to say 1989. I know it. I can feel it right on the tip of my tongue. Climb aboard your ether flyer and sail into a spacefaring past that never was, to see the cloud ships and canals of the dying planet Mars, the dinosaurs of the Venusian swamps, and the world river that encircles Mercury. This new Odysseys offer brings you the entire original 1990s Space 1889 RPG line from GDW, along with many recent source books and adventures for the 2014 Clockwork Publishing line. It's everything you need for a complete campaign of otherworldly adventure across Her Majesty's solar system. For just $9.95, you get all 9 titles in this offer's GDW collection, with a retail value of $49 as DRM-free ebooks, PDFs, baby, including the complete 225-page GDW Space 1889 core rulebook, the 2000 heliograph reprint of the 1988 original, the Gazetteer Conklin's Atlas of the Worlds, the Soldier's Companion miniature skirmish rules, the Adventure Collection's Tales from the Ether and More Tales from the Ether, the complete campaign adventure Canal Priests of Mars in its restored heliograph edition, and 3 Martian Odysseys from the GDW days, Beastmen, Caravans, and Steplords of Mars. If you pay more than this offer's threshold price of $25.15, you'll level up and also get this offer's entire Clockwork collection with 10 more titles worth an additional $58.50, including Clockwork Publishing's comprehensive Mars and Mercury source books, plus no less than 7 full-length adventures. in versions for both Ubiquity and Pinnacle Entertainment's Fast, Furious, Fun. Come on, Madman, you know what it is. Savage Worlds, Explorer Edition rules. Ah, rats, it's not Adventure Edition. The savings run through August 24th, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to this offer's pandemic-related charity, Direct Relief. Direct Relief sends protective gear and critical care medications to health workers with emergency deliveries daily to medical facilities across the U.S. and Canada and to regional response agencies around the world. Yes, good old 1889. And I did not mess up and say 1989. I got a soft spot for this system. I had it. I owned it. I didn't own all these supplements. I did have the core book. I did have the Soldier Companion that had the miniatures rules as well, because we played a lot of minis back in the day. Funny thing is, I never played it. Never played it. Never played the role-playing game. Never played the miniatures game. Yeah. I've met Frank Chadwick a couple of times. He's been super nice. In fact, I sat and had a cocktail with Frank Chadwick, Herman Luttman, and maybe it was Alan Emmerich from VPG, from Victory Point Games. Maybe it wasn't Herman. I forget. There was somebody else, another designer there. And it was kind of funny because I was asking Frank about both 1889 and Command Decision, which was his World War II miniatures system that he did for GDW. And he was kind of surprised because it was at Consim World. And trust me, I'm sure I was the only one who mentioned anything about Space 1889 to him there. Anyway, so Will Burton is popping into chat, mentions that Frank Chadwick is an awesome designer. I agree. Frank Chadwick had just a lot of different stuff that he would do. Wasn't not just war games. I think right now, because he kind of got, okay, so I take that back. Probably not now. But prior to Victory Point Games being bought, he was pretty heavily designing for Victory Point Games. In fact, one of the last things Victory Point Games did was that Kickstarter for one of his designs for I want to say it was the Eastern Front World War II game. I can't remember the title of it off the top of my head. But Frank Chadwick was doing a lot of wargaming stuff for Victory Point Games, but it was all kind of smaller stuff. I think the Kickstarter game was a bigger game. So I'd like to see Frank Chadwick do more unusual things like he did in the past, as opposed to just Thunder in the East. Thank you, Will. Will chimes in with the correct answer. A House Divided is a Grade A's favorite Civil War game. Yes, that's an excellent Civil War game. So, anyway, so Grade A said Fire in the East. No, I think Will's right. I think Will's got it right. It's Thunder in the East. So, a Grade A says Rapham still makes 1889 minis. That's pretty cool. That's pretty sweet. I don't think it was. So Grade A's mentioning that they thought there was a big Kickstarter for 1889 last year. I think it was a little further back because Ulysses Spiel, I think, they either now own the rights to it, or they're the publisher of it. Because who does Clockwork? I don't think owns it anymore, or owns the rights to it. I don't know. But for some strange reason, I think Ulysses Spiel now is considered the publisher of it. And I know the Kickstarter a Grade A's talking about because at that point in time, because Ulysses Spiel North America, I don't think really exists anymore. I think it's just back to Ulysses Spiel. But the folks over at Ulysses North America really liked me. And I remember talking to them about the Space 1889 Kickstarter. And that was a while ago that things changed over. It's been, I think, about 2 years, or maybe about a year and a half since there's been a lot of changes in the structure of Ulysses. But I asked if Frank Chadwick was involved in it, and they said no. Damn. All right, let's get on to the last news piece. Now available in PDF from FeralGamersInc is The Black Iron Grimdark role-playing game. Here's the dope. A world broken beyond repair. When the elves left, they took everything. Damn you, elves! Leaving behind only ashes and death. In the aftermath of their apocalypse, dark things fought their way into the light. The Bloodlords staked their claim on the remnants of the world, slaughtering anyone who opposed them. Mankind is relegated to subsistence, clinging on in a few underground bastions and in the last city, protected by sorcerers driven mad by the magic they wield. Somehow, you must find a means of surviving in the ruins of a magical desolation where the earth itself is trying to kill you and the only people you can trust died long ago. Well, that kind of sucks. Will you strive to withstand the creeping madness of the beyond for a little longer? Try to restore some light in a world consumed by darkness? Or do you embrace the chaos, taking what you can from those too weak to defend it? Dark cults proliferate in the streets. Dread creatures drag themselves ever onwards in search of new flesh. The world freezes and shrinks and shudders as it waits to end. What a time to be alive! The Black Iron is a dark fantasy role-playing game set in a shattered world on the brink of utter annihilation. It contains everything you need to get started creating and playing characters, venturing out to try and scratch a living in the wilderness left behind, and maybe, just maybe, beginning to remake the world. A fast and flexible rule system now allows for customization and homebrewing. This includes 3 playable species and 6 roles that break down into 18 sub-roles. 6 guilds to join, 28 skills, 61 specializations, and 12 unique traits. There are 45 pages of world history, including information on lost artifacts, the Bloodlords, and places of power, rules for survival and dealing with corruption and poisons. There's also 3 realms of magic, pyromancy, necromancy, and sorcery, with over 45 unique spells. So what does that mean, 46? Rules to create your own spells, complete guide for GMs to help create adventures, plot points to help seed ideas, encounter tables, and rules for weather, with optional rules like luck. There's also rules for fear and stress, 27 pages of monsters and threats that can be used to challenge the characters, as well as a short adventure to get you started. The 224-page PDF is available right now at Drive-Thru RPG for $19.99. Ta-da! The Black Iron Grimdark RPG. I don't really do Grimdark. It's just not really my style. But then again, I am not really super high fantasy either, I have to admit. So, anyway, that's it for the news tonight. So that I gotta say that PDF for the Black Iron looks pretty good. Looks pretty impressive. Looks like they got some pretty nice artwork. It's not some that cheapo. Here's the royalty-free artwork that we've got. So let's see. Kabuki Kid talks about having fond traveler memories. There we go. And according to a grade A, the U.S. European Union and the UK license for 1889 seem to be held by different groups. That is possible. So I would take a guess the UK is Clockwork, because I'm pretty sure Clockwork's still around. Which, didn't they get their start off with Clockwork and Chivalry, and then they did Clockwork and Cthulhu, which was that same English Civil War setting as their original game that kind of had a steampunkish twist to it. But this time they threw in Lovecraft. So it was like, aha. So, Great says, I'm not falling for the 2E of Massive Darkness Kickstarter. What? Massive Darkness, what is that? Is that Cool Mini or not? It rings a bell. There's so many games that have darkness in the title, right? Sort of like, I think I'll just create a board game. I'm just going to call it Darkness, period. So, anyway, you at least get partial points for the guess at Fire in the East. So yeah, it's Simon. Okay. Yeah, I kind of ran across that. I don't normally share Cool Mini or not news. They don't really need me. They don't. Plus, I feel weird because I know there are people out there who dislike the company because they take so long to actually come out with the stuff they kickstart, sometimes 2 years or more. I don't want that kind of hassle from people because for some strange reason, there are folks out there. I know nobody watching this show or hanging out in chat right now are members of this community, but there are gamers out there who, if I share a news piece, assume that I'm giving it my stamp of approval, which is not the case. I'm simply sharing a news piece. That's it. So, all right. So a couple of things I mentioned while we were going through the news there. Tomorrow, I will have my review of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Game Mastery Guide. Yep. So I think I'll make this public after tomorrow's show. I think that's what I'll do. Sometimes I like to pop stuff out at night. Sometimes I pop it out in the morning. Sometimes the afternoon. So tune in if you want to check this out. It's interesting. And I will talk about who will get the most use out of this. Because I don't think it's for everybody running Pathfinder. But it's still pretty good. All right, so I've got that. The other thing I wanted to mention is I saw today. Now I don't know where these numbers came from. They may have come from Gen Con, may have come from somebody else. But I did see this floating around that Gen Con Online had over 40,000 participants, and there were over 6,400 events that took place. Now I actually do believe the 6,400 events. Yeah. The 40,000 participants, I think what they may have done is they may have counted, let's say for an example, you took part in 5 different online events. I would take a guess they counted you 5 times. That's my guess. Because the numbers for Comic-Con online weren't anywhere near 40,000 people participating. And you can't tell me that Comic-Con online, where they actually had panels, granted, they were all like Zoom meetings and stuff like that, but still, there were celebrities and all the other stuff kind of doing the same kind of thing they usually do, sharing, clips and first-time trailers and new stuff coming out. So I think that's what Gen Con actually did, is they counted the actual people in their participation. And that's why I think they're utilizing the phrase participants as opposed to attendees. Don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not saying, oh, damn you, Gen Con, for misleading people. No, I'm not buying that over 40,000 individuals took part in Gen Con Online because it just wasn't that impressive. So, so Kabuki Kid says they watched some of the Gen Con coverage by Board Game Geek. Damn you, Double K, you traitor. So, all right. So let's see. So there's some discussion about cool mini or not. Kevin Thorpe, let's go back for a second here. Mentioned that Clockwork Cthulhu is okay, but it was a lack of support. Yeah, once again, I can't stress it enough to some of these companies that come out with role-playing games. People want adventures for them. If you do not publish adventures for it, nobody's going to, they might buy it and then be like, oh, yeah, it was all right. They're not going to like follow up and play it. And yes, we see that with a lot of companies. They think, oh, well, or they're just like, well, you know, we didn't sell a bunch of copies of it. Okay, well, at least follow up with one or two adventures for the people who did buy it. Make sure that they're good adventures. And who knows, people might hear about the adventures and that has them go, oh, well, I'm going to pick up this game. I've heard so many good things about the adventures for it. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder who runs some of these companies. Because even back in the day, and we've discussed this a few times in chat, TSR was like, people don't want adventures. Why would they want adventures? We're not going to make adventures. And then they made adventures and they were like, oh, holy shit, people really dig these. I guess we'll never keep doing these. So some discussion about cool mini or not. Kabuki Kid says that they actually own a couple of CMON games, Ethos and Rising Sun, and likes them both. Oh, here we go. Great A's talking about Ninja Division. See, okay, here's a prime example, right? Of there's that like group of people who think that if I talk about some company, I'm like, yeah, everybody. So I interviewed John, I can't remember his last name. It's just something. DeChidi, I don't know. So, at Gen Con. This was 2 Gen Cons ago. And they had come out with that Warhammer dwarf game. So he had reached out and said, hey, Jeff, why don't you come by and do an interview? Because if I remember correctly, I think I had just done a review for, now I can't think of the name. And I thought it was sitting over here, but it's not because I've resorted some stuff. The gardening game. Yeah, I know. There's only one gardening game, right? Gosh, from Backspinel Games. Can't remember the name of it now. See, that's what happens. You get old, get all these games you've played over the years. You forget what's what. John, 4-letter word. Yeah, okay. Yes. So that's a great A. So anyway, so I go over there to do the interview. I don't know much about Ninja Division. They had sent me the super deformed train robbery game, which I thought blew. That's what I said in my review. I didn't think it was very good. I thought the only good thing about it were the little minis. The chibi minis, I thought, they're pretty cool. They probably paint up pretty fun. But the game itself, I thought, sucked. And then they had sent me the game that was from Backspinel Games, who at that time was being released through Ninja Division. So anyway, so I go meet John to whatever. And I do a quick interview, and that's it, right? That's all I do. And then all of a sudden, all these people are all pissed off at me because of the Kickstarter that they hadn't fulfilled and that they were running other Kickstarters. In fact, I think John had talked about one of the Kickstarters during the interview, and people were all pissed off at me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, how do I know these things? I can't know everything about everything out there. All I did was do an interview with this guy, and that's it. Like, oh, you're enabling him. And oh, thank you. Yes, rail riders. Thanks, a great A. I'm like, enabling him. I did an interview with him. It's not like I sat there and was like, hey, Charles Manson, come on, let's sit down. Let's have a Coke together and bond. Like, I just did a 10-minute interview with the dude. Big deal. But yes, there's that group of people. Like I said, if I post a news piece or I interview somebody, all of a sudden I get, all these people mad at me about something that I have no control over and I didn't happen to know. And I'm not going to sit there and research every individual with every company before I talk about them. So Russell Higgins has shown up. Good to see there. So Kabuki Kid says, wasn't everybody angry at Cronkite for reporting on Watergate? Or saying that the war in Vietnam was lost? I remember that. So Ninja Studio made Russell swear off Kickstarter. I'm not sure who Ninja Studio is, unless it is Ninja Division we're talking about. So hang on, I know Grade A was saying something about so a Grade A said Ninja Division was asking backers of Super Dungeon Legends to pledge money for a pre-order of the components that were supposed to be in the game. Jeez. Man, that's right up there with the folks who make riffs. Kevin Symbiota or whatever his name is. Over at what is going on with me today? Just so many damn companies, right? Plus I'm thinking of something else I wanted to mention. But anyway, so yes, like the whole Robotech game fiasco with those folks. So Russell says, yes, it was Ninja Division. So yeah, well, just like I remember and some of the war gamers out there watching this will remember when Upfront was getting a new edition from Valley Games or whatever the hell they were going, but whatever name they were going by at the time. And they hadn't fulfilled their Airborne in Your Pocket dice game. And people were super pumped. They were like, oh, the Avalon Hill Classics coming back. And I had posted, in fact, I had talked about it on the podcast. This is how far back we go. I said, I don't see it happening. I don't think they've got the rights from Avalon Hill to make this game. And Hasbro is not going to just sit back and let people do whatever. Well, then it turned out, and they were like, well, all these people were like, that guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And worse, like dropping F-bombs on me. It's like, I'm sorry, I just don't see this happening. And it turned out they ripped everybody off who backed both games. And their big deal about Upfront was they had the designer on board. And they never had the rights to that game. So Hasbro was nice enough to allow the designer, I can't remember the designer's name, to do a print on demand over on Wargame Vault for Upfront of the original game. So they were kind enough to do that because all of the people who had gotten screwed by Valley Games, whatever the hell it was called. So, yes, and there's some discussion going on right now, it being print on demand over at Wargame Vault. Yep. So, I don't know. But like I said, yeah, people get, I love 99% of the gamers out there. Problem is, they don't, they're not very vocal. They, they'll sit there, they'll watch a video, they'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah, that was fine. And, that'll be about it. It's that like 1% of the nuts out there. And I know we've all gamed with somebody who you were like, I got to get out of here. Like, how do I make a break from this table, man? How do I get out of here? There's that little tiny portion of the hobby that just, Makes you wonder, why do I do this? Anyway, so as I mentioned, look for the review tomorrow. Then on Thursday, I will have my review of Tiny Epic Mechs. That'll be arriving. And then over the weekend, look forward to Imperial Struggle. And I think I'm going to do my best to get some Dungeon Drop in, which is from, let's get rid of that glare. It's from Game Rights, and it looks kind of interesting. They were kind enough to send this along for review. All right, so anyway, so Great A says there is a D-Day dice game out there. I think originally there was D-Day Dice came out from this company. Like I said, they changed the name of the company like 2 or 3 times trying to trick people. So they did do D-Day Dice, and I guess it was pretty popular. And then they followed that up. They were supposed to follow that up with Airborne in Your Pocket. And looks like we are dropping some frames here. Kind of weird how it's always like when we hit about the hour mark. So Will Burton says they played Imperial Struggle over the weekend, 2 turns. They screwed up a few things, but the game is awesome. They're going to play it again. Well, I don't want to give anything away yet about the review, but I did mention this yesterday. I'll mention this again today. It is not like Twilight Struggle or 1960. So there's that. It's a lot more in depth as far as the rules and that. All right. Anyway, so Kabuki Kid says they got D-Day Dice on Kickstarter. Yep, that's how it was. And the Airborne in Your Pocket thing with it. Cool. I think that was, I think like the second like print run of D-Day Dice was from the designer of the game. Anyway, so yes, Will Burton says lots of moving parts. There are, and this is the thing about the review I'm going to do. I want to try to keep the review fairly short because you know how my reviews tend to go on, just like this show is. So I'm trying to figure out how do I present it and get the review portion at least done in about 20 minutes. Don't know. Anyway, all right. And Will says, yeah, Imperial Struggle seems scary. But once you play a couple of turns, it's not so hard. It's not. But there are, like you said, a lot of moving pieces in the design. All right, that is it for tonight's show. Let me remind you that if you missed out on winning yesterday during my Any Award Winners Celebration contest, you still have an opportunity to win one of 3 Any Award-winning RPGs from Drive-Thru RPG. Simply have to comment on yesterday's show, so episode 520, to be in the running. And of course, it can't be a rude comment. It's like, Jeff, you suck. Hey, you're a winner. No, that ain't happening. All right, so just want to remind everybody out there, hint, hint, the madman, don't forget, get in the running. All right. Anyway, so as I always like to remind everyone, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't yet. And if you do subscribe, ring that little bell because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live, Monday through Thursday nights, right here on YouTube, it'll also tell you when I upload my other videos, such as today's review of the Alpha. So Kabuki Kid says they're laughing. It would be really fun if the You Suck guy ended up winning. And tain't happening, Dooley. Tain't happening, Dooley. All right. Anyway, and of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody who hung out, watched live, thank you very much for keeping me company here in chat. Ooh, Pinky's heading down. Ha! Ha ha! I'm wrapping the show up, Pinky. I know this mic really doesn't pick her up anymore. Anyway, for those who watch live, thank you very much. If you don't have an opportunity to watch live, maybe you even watch on Memorex, I appreciate that as well. In fact, anybody who takes some time out to watch me pontificate and just babble on deserves some respect. Anyway, I will be back tomorrow. So everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. And as I've been closing out every show and video during this pandemic, please do your best to stay smart, stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.